Dito specific sa mga debate, paano ba pine-prep ang isang kandidato in case nagkaroon ng invitation for a debate tapos talagang nangahash yung kandidato di ba? Hindi, gusto ko umaten.
Well, ang debate, the general rule is, eto na naman ako with my Alanism, so to speak.
Yeah,
The general rule, is to always treat it like a chess game. A debate is like a chess game. You play the board and you play the man. Yes, there are scientific, tactical strategies to use in a debate a la chess. So you have to learn the rules, you have to learn the figures, you have to come in with the correct facts, the correct information, kundi magmumukha kang engot. Kailangan tama yung mga informasyon mo, hindi pwedeng outdated. That's playing the board. But you also have to play the man. You also have to determine sino yung mga kasama mo sa debate, sinong pwede kong tirahin dito, sino yung nag-i-interview, ano yung temperament nito, ano yung mga type of questions sa itatanong nitong moderator nito, sino yung mga panelists, anong network ako lalabas, anong online ba to, may live chat ba to, pwede bang mag-feedback yung aking mga supporters, titirahin ba ako sa comments, etc. So many things come into play, but there's actually a very, very tried and tested formula for entering a debate. It doesn't go far. It never changes. Pag tinanong ka, the first thing is you express empathy. Always, as a first rule. In whatever way, shape, or form you can express empathy. And shared value or anecdote. Maganda yung tanong mo, Ian. Naalala ko nung ako bata, lumalaki sa Quiapo. Ang nag-alaga sa akin, solo parent Tapos, hirap na hirap siya. Nakikita ko, 3 yung trabaho niya. So again, you're expressing empathy, shared value, care as a first statement. Then you bridge to your key message. Sasagutin mo yung exact tanong. After your little empathic and the humanized anecdote. And then after that, you state your supporting information. Kaya nga, ngayon, 15 million ang mga solo parents. At alam mo ba, karamihan sa kanila, kababaihan. So you state your supporting information and then you summarize your key messages. At kailangan yan mabilis dahil ilan lang minuto ang binibigay kada sagot. So that's the formula. Iikot ka lang ng iikot doon. And that's how we prep our candidate. We drill them in that format. At sa lahat ng mga politiko nakikinig ngayon, ang laki na natipid ninyo kasi kadalasan, ang laki ng sinisingil ko pag binibigay ko yung ganyang klaseng advice.
Ito libre. Ito na pala napunta, no?
Pero hindi, workshop naman yan. That's really workshop. So, at least you get a glimpse behind the scene. Workshop po natin yan. Number 1, hindi lahat ng kandidato sanay tumayo ng matagal. Most of the debates are standing debates. So, inaano ho namin yan. Like for our clients, we actually film them. If they're shifty, kasi yung iba kakamot-kamot habang kasi you're standing usually pag debate nakatayo. Some candidates are not aware of their body language, kakamot-kamot, they shift in their seats, they play with their hands, they're distracted. You always have to pretend that you're on cam. Tapos yung favorite na sinasabi ni Ian Esguerra, yan, parati niyang sinasabi to, you have to talk in sound bites. Lahat kasi nang sabihin mo, pwedeng yan ang gagawin ko. So you have to make sure that everything you say is memorable and as much as possible not be taken out of context. Alam na alam ni Calyodi yan. Nangyari kay Calyodi. Unfortunately, may nasabi siya tungkol sa mga past presidents na kababaihan na twist ngayon yung soundbite niya. Pinalabas.
Ayun ba nangyari doon? Ayun ba nangyari doon?
He was merely talking about retrospectively sa mga past presidents natin. Unfortunately, dalawa dun sa presidente na yon ay kababaihan. Babae sila, no? And ang naging konteksto tuloy ng ilang mga articles na lumabas, parang misogynist siya. Parang sinabi niya, walang nagawa yung mga babaeng presidente. When in fact, he was talking about past presidents as a whole. So, yan, you always have to be mindful of that. Talk in sound bites, make sure that the context is well-defined.
Pero actually, yung talking in terms of sound bites, parang it can help the candidate, pero by and large, baka hindi siya nakakatulong sa diskurso kasi very little opportunity to explain. Tapos parang pagalingan na lang yan kung sino yung pinakamagaling humirit, di ba? Parang ginawa ni Duterte in 2016.
Yes, that's also the fine balance between talking in sound bites and spouting motherhood statements.
Yeah.
Kung puro lahat na lang ng sagot mo, kailangan tayo magsama na because unity is the best for all so that we may progress as one nation. Yes, let us move forward. You will eventually sound repetitive at sana sa mga marunong magsuri na tagapagkinig sa debate, malalaman nila na puro motherhood statements to, wala naman tong tunay na programa. He's speaking in slogans. So that's the difference between talking in sound bites and speaking in slogans.
Paano nyo ginagawa yung during the preparation stage, yung risk analysis? Yun ang term na naisip ko pero baka iba yung term na ginagamit yung, kunwari, boss, in-invite ka rito sa debate, dito sa, kunwari, GMA o ABS-CBN. I-consider mo sino yung makakaharap mo, di ba? Paano kung makakaharap mo dyan yung mga tipong Luke Espiritu, yung tipong talagang kayariin ka
Upakan ka talaga. And okay, and first of all, risk analysis is really the term we use, no? We color code that. Meron kami different colors. Syempre, it's yellow, orange, red, I don't know. Si BJ David yata na-explain na sa iyo yan dati, di ba, Ian? Nung magkasama kayo ni BJ. Hello, BJ, kung nanonood ka man. We actually color code that. How do we mitigate it? Unang-una, pag merong current issue na medyo matunog pa at merong issue na laban sa'yo na pinag-uusapan, talagang we move heaven and hell na wag nang papuntahin yung kandidato kung maaari if there's an active issue. Ngayon, kung there are, I don't want to call them incendiary, but yeah, I suppose it's a good word, incendiary candidates na kasama mo katulad ni Attorney Luke, not that I've ever had to prepare a candidate against Attorney Luke. Hindi po tayo tumatanggap ng ganyang klaseng kliyente. Next naman. You will have to have a briefer. If then. If this question is asked, then this is the answer. If then. And as much as possible, back it up with numbers. Numbers to narrative. Hindi naman po totoo na nagnakaw ako nung panahon ko. Sa totoo nga, tignan ninyo yung aking lungsod. Tumaas pa ang kita nung ako yung naupo. And then you use the numbers that would otherwise, kumbaga, the numbers in your favor. Use the numbers in your favor. And I realized I suddenly sound like such a terrible person. But that's really what you do. Kukuha ko kayo ng numbers and turn it into a narrative that suits you upang masagot yung mga issue laban sa inyo.
Pero they also you go to the extent of saying, boss, wag ka na lang muna pumunta. Delikado yan. Masyado mainit.
Absolutely. And, the reality is, even with journalists, gaya na nasabi mo, pag yung mga medyo militante, yung mga medyo Gabriela party list na mga journalists, wala naman akong pinatutunguan, pero may mga journalists na matatapang, na talagang maanghang magtanong, we will advise na parang wag na lang dyan.
Pero kung yung kandidato, wala naman sa top 12. Kumaga, medyo, alam mo na, malalayo. Diba, I remember in a previous conversation, you talked about your inflection point. Yung mga ganong risky situations, do you also encourage the candidate to join or to be in that situation para magkaroon tinatawag na inflection point?
Okay, pag yan naman ang konteksto, absolutely. Kasi, as I mentioned at the start of the program, the rule is always to punch up your weight class. If you're the lightest weight of them all, then you can just pick on everybody and punch up your weight class. I hate to say it, and by in and of himself, he is a very qualified, very accomplished, and I don't know where his heart is, but from all indications, his heart might be in the right place. Pero napag-usapan na rin natin si Attorney Luke. Yan ang ginagawa ni Attorney Luke. Kaya naman sumabog sa consciousness ng Pilipinas si Attorney Luke dahil talagang inuupakan niya yung korupsyon ng lahat ng kanyang mga kapwa kandidato. So yes, I would definitely advise. If my client was below the rankings, I would send the client there to just keep on punching up his or her weight class upang makilala.
Dun sa prep, no? Sabi mo, the candidate goes through a workshop. Usually, how intensive is that? Gano'ng kahaba? And then, para ba yung sparring na yung aspar, you mimic the fighter that candidate would face?
Train hard, win easy. That's it's exactly sparring. You train hard, win easy. You try to simulate as much of your opponent as you can. That's usually 2 days. But the prep going into the debate is long-standing because of the information. We're assuming lang that the candidate already knows the information. Alam na niya yung mga statistics, alam na niya yung mga policy, current policies in place, what are the contentions. Meron na siyang tinatawag na RRK, Rapid Response Kit. Ayan, dami ng mga tips na nakukuha sa akin ng mga kandidato. May naka-prepare na siyang RRK, Rapid Response Kit. And the response has to be rapid because hindi ka pwedeng, you cannot meander with your answer pag debate. Kailangan yan 1 minuto, 2 minuto. By the time that's done, that's about a 2-day seminar. We make them stand up. We put them in uncomfortable situations. Sometimes we switch off the aircon para medyo mainit. And the camera is always, may isang camera na naka-extreme close-up sa mukha to capture facial expressions. Kasi you never know eh. May sinasabi yung isang kandidato, ngumingiti ka or ngumingisi ka or you're making faces. You never know, that might be caught. Especially in the sorry.
Pagka ba dapat dapat ba pag ang reaction mo is stoic or deadpan, ganun ba yan?
Well, stoic deadpan as much as possible unless again there is a point that you're very very much in agreement with, then you can nod, you can but we even discourage that kasi dapat hindi mo binibigyan ng validation yung kalaban mo you're in a fight. You're in a fight. So sometimes you super agree with what candidate B said. So you cannot help but sometimes you might even applaud, you might shake your head, you might smile. Di nabigyan pa ng validation yun. Kalaban mo yan You're in a fight. That person's taking votes away from you.
Sa ganyan ba parang meron din sa toolkit ninyo, kunwari hindi talaga pabor sa yung mga datos, yung statistics. Nandun ba yung option na guluhin mo na lang, i-distract mo na lang, o mag-whataboutism ka na lang?
Again, the art of debate and the art of discussion is numbers and narratives. If the narrative does not work for you, find numbers to help you. If the numbers don't work for you, find a narrative that will help you. So it's either, whataboutism doesn't really work that well anymore, but forced dichotomy ang nag-work ngayon. Ayaw mo dun sa budget, ibig sabihin, hindi ka maka-Pilipino. Ibig sabihin, ayaw mo sa mahirap. So, anti-poor ka. Dahil alam mo itong budget natin, diretso binibigay yung assistance sa tao through AKAP, through AIX, MAIP. This is assistance to indigents, the poorest of the poor Filipino. So, ayaw mo sa budget na yan, Ian? Ay, anti-poor ka pala.
But ako
so, forced
sorry.
Di ba? Diba? Forced dichotomy. And you use such words like that na pag pinanood ng botante, baka yun ang dumikit. Natikitan mo pa. Hindi po anti-poor si Ian Esguerra. I'm merely using that as an example. But if Shelo Magno was spouting, if Prof. Shelo, and hello Prof. Shelo, the smiling assassin, kung nanonood ka man, if she was, for example, naharap kami sa debate, obviously she will eat me up, chew me and spit me out when it comes to numbers and dissecting the books.
While smiling.
While smiling, my God, she will chop me to little bits and pieces. Baka pati dental records ko hindi mo na ma-identify. Talagang Shelo Magno will obliterate me pag yan ang pinag-uusapan. Pero kung I was forced into a firefight with her, yun na lang ang gagawin ko. I can't beat her with the numbers, I'll hit her with a narrative. So, Prof, galit na galit kayo dyan sa budget na yan. Yan ang budget That's the very same budget that helps people. Meron akong kapitbahay. Yan, i-humanize mo na. Meron akong kapitbahay, yung anak niya nagkasakit. Grabe, binebenta niya yung heirloom ng nanay niya para lang mabayaran. Nakatanggap siya ng assistance galing sa gobyerno. napagaling yung bata. That's the same budget that that you're fighting against. So anti-purka, Prof. By way of example. Example lang
Pwede
po to,
bang-
Wag masyado
example lang.
wag ma-excite yung mga trolls. Hindi ko nilalabanan si Prof. Shelo on this at all.
As a matter of example, pwede bang ibalik? Kunwari, oo nga eh, talagang ang laking tulong na binibigay niyo sa mahirap eh. Kaso huwag niyo na rin nakawan.
That would be great. That would be great. But see, if you did that, Ian, for example, again, we're using Shelo as an example. If Shelo did that, then guess what I did? I dragged her into my battlefield.
Sa corruption.
I took her to where I want the fight to be. It's now a fight of words.
Dahil kinagat ko na.
Kinagat mo eh. It's now a fight of words.
Paano ginagawa yan? Example, meron kang team social media warriors. Hindi ko sinasabing trolls Talaga i-amplify yung mga messages. So, boss, ang galing talaga ng sagot nito. Talagang siya yung kandidato ko. Diba? How does it work?
Do you remember that, again, I use this example, but I remember a certain politician who came out with a flood of videos before. And the title was, Sunog si Karen Davila. Sunog si
Hindi ko
Karen
maalala.
Davila. So, nag-guest yung politiko na to kay Karen Davila sa Head Start. And ayon sa mga social media amplification na lumabas, sinunog daw niya si Karen Davila at binarabara daw niya. But if you watch the video, I guarantee you the opposite happened. Karen asked questions, hindi niya masagot, nagalit na lang siya at nagtaas na lang siya ng boses kay Karen Davila. At para sa mga SOCMED amplifiers, trolls, if you wanna call them that, kasunugan na nangyari. So nilabas nila yon. That's how you try to control the narrative post-debate. So maglalabas ka ng mga ganyan. Heck, that's why you were able to watch that. That's why you were able to watch that clip of Commissioner Heidi versus Attorney Jimmy. When you watch that clip, what was the title? Sunog well, the one I watched was Jimmy Bondoc sinunog ni Heidi Mendoza.
Talaga?
Yeah, but if you watch it, wala naman talagang quote-unquote sunugan na nangyari.
Pwedeng in lugar.
Oo, di ba? So, that's how the team will really amplify your wins, buffer your low points, and make a narrative na ikaw talaga yung bumida. So yeah, definitely, after the debate, hand off sa team na yan. Team nang gagawa ng paraan para lumabas na ikaw yung pinakamagaling na debater na nangyari doon.
Pero ano yan, staple yan, bawat kandidato dapat meron ganyan team. Let's say you're seriously eyeing a position. Kailangan meron kang ganyang team.
Well, I'm sure candidates like Attorney Luke, Commissioner Heidi, who are really running on ideology and really not really, they don't have the funding of a full campaign team, baka wala. Pero para sa isang serious candidate na talagang may resources, imperative yan. Kasama yan talaga.
Imperative.
Siyempre, sasabihin ko yan dahil yan ang hanap buhay ko. Imperative talaga yan.
Pero ano yan, you can somehow create better opportunities. Let's say, nag-bomb out yung kandidato dun sa debate. Talagang miserable yung kanyang performance. How do you massage it or manage it after?
Papa-interviewin ko yan sa Friendly. That's one way of doing it. Or two, I will do the famous medium shot off camera interview. Kilalanin si Ian Esguerra after the debate. Let's say Ian bombed. Tapos, I will take the same questions that you bombed in during the debate. I'm going to ask them off cam or word card. Ano ang masasabi mo sa mga mangingisda? ? Or off cam, sasabihin yan. And then you'll give a better answer. Yun yung ipapakalat ko, hopefully to undo the damage that was done during the debate.